What's up, everyone? Kim Becker and Ryan Blackburn here for your weekly AMA for the Denver Nuggets. Who could take the NBA championship in Game 5? They are up 3-1 on the series. Ryan, we have some fantastic questions, a lot to talk about. I'm sure you are on edge right now, hoping that these Denver Nuggets can get it done. How you feeling this week?
I'm feeling great. A little bit tired, obviously, from all the travel, but that's first world problems right now at this point. I mean, this Nuggets team, they've made it so fun, they've made it so enjoyable, and it's hard not to love where this team is at right now.
It's unbelievable. It is so much fun, and I hope that everyone is really soaking it up and soaking where this team is, like you said, because it's not going to be here forever, and it could happen just this week. It could happen tomorrow to be done with, and that'll be even more exciting. But we'll get to some questions here from fans. The first one from Gage: who will be the story of Game 5?
Yeah, it's a good question. And most important thing for this Nuggets team to remember is that it doesn't have to be the same guys. It could be different guys, as I think Game 3 and Game 4 really told. Game 3, it was Christian Braun really coming off, actually, maybe not the story, but because Jokic and Murray were the stories in that one. But Christian Braun certainly put his stamp on the game. Game 4, it was Aaron Gordon and Bruce Brown. I'm gonna do it. Game 5, story's gonna be Michael Porter Jr.
Love it.
I am ready for the Michael Porter Jr. game. I want it so badly for him. He's bought into the system. He's bought into this team. And to this point, hasn't really had his finals moment yet. I don't even know if he's made a three in the NBA finals yet. And it just feels like he's walking on eggshells right now, doing what he can to survive at this point when he's in the game. But I want to see him thrive. I want to see him play well. And most important thing the Nuggets can do, I think, is to try to get him going. Because if he makes 4 or 5 threes at home in front of that home crowd, that's going to be such a big deal. It's going to kick the crowd into a new gear. And I think we want to see what happens when everybody's going in the same direction for this Nuggets team. And nothing gets the crowd going like a Michael Porter Jr. flurry.
All right. Well, fingers crossed for MPJ there. This next one, who's going to be the X factor on Monday, which possibly is the same? What do you think?
Well, it might be the same. I think it depends, because X factor means it may not be MPJ. I mean, let's go KCP on this one. Okay. Let's go KCP, because he made a couple threes at the end of Game 4, or throughout Game 4, one at the beginning, one at the end, and then made some great defensive stops. I think that if he does that again, then Denver's got a great chance, but possibly won't do it again. Possibly might be in a position where he's not even in the game towards the end because Bruce Brown is playing well, or Michael Porter Jr. is getting hot, or whatever. I think most important thing for people to remember, KCP has had some big time moments with the Lakers and has some big time moments with the Nuggets in these situations. And Game 4, I think, represented that at least to a degree. Mm-hmm. And Game 5, I think we could see a lot of something similar there with KCP. He's fantastic at what he does and what the Nuggets are asking him to do. And I'm hoping that he gets it going as well. I want to see all the Nuggets shooting well. I want to see Porter shooting well. I want to see KCP shooting well. I want to see everybody, when they take their shots, making them and just having a party on the court.
Yeah, I know. Fingers crossed for that one. Definitely. All right, let's go back to MPJ a little bit. This one from Issa. What is your level of concern with MPJ? Is it just a matchup thing, or are the lights too bright? You kind of touched on this already, but let's elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit concerned because when you see him not making threes for 4 games in a row, that feels a little weird. It feels like something that should not be happening, because I mean, he's been such a big part of what the Nuggets have done and the actual identity of the team. And they've had to kind of shift their identity away from the high-flying, scoring, athletic, big-time Nuggets to more of a grinded-out kind of team over the course of those games in Miami. Just like they went with Christian Braun a lot of the time. They went with Bruce Brown, tried to play a slower pace and then just be as great defensively. I don't know if that means I have concern about MPJ, because I still think he's extremely talented. He's going to get some shots to go, whether it's in this series or not. It doesn't change my opinion on him as a shooter. I do think that maybe there's a lights too bright kind of thing going on here, but I don't know. He's just been putting a lot of pressure on himself, and he wants the best for himself, and he wants to showcase his abilities in such a way that Like he gets to make up for lost time a little bit, where he's lost a couple seasons already. I think he wants people to know just the kind of player that he can be, and has put a lot of pressure on himself in order to do that. So he's found ways to be impactful even without shooting. I would like to see him shoot. I want to see him make some threes. And if he doesn't, then it doesn't mean he can't going forward, but it will be a little bit weird to see for whatever from the 3-point line from MPJ.
Yeah. All right. How cool would it be to see stars from days past go to the game? English as a lever. Wow, we've got a whole lineup there. Billups, Chauncey, nice. Carmelo, what do you think?
I mean, I've seen a couple of them already. I don't think that Doug Moe is coming, the former Nuggets coach. I don't think that that'll end up happening. But Alex English was at the game. David Thompson was at the game. Would be really cool to see some of the older stars come, though. Like there are so many players that are a part of this Nuggets identity that over the course of history, they didn't quite get to the threshold of superstar or like NBA champion or anything like that, but they were close. And I think this is a part of Nuggets history that everybody gets to share because this hasn't happened before. And I think a lot of Nuggets, like Michael Malone said this previously, for all Nuggets. And I was pretty surprised about that because there are some Nuggets in past that you wouldn't necessarily want to like bring to the championship parade. But I do think that guys like Alex English and Dan Issel and Fat Lever and even Mutombo, Billups, AI, and Carmelo. Like, I mean, AI would be pretty cool, despite the fact that his time here was pretty short. Carmelo would be the best one, though, just because it would be nice to reconnect with that part of your history. And that was probably the closest Denver has ever been to an NBA championship. And it never ended up happening. And that relationship has kind of fizzled over the course of these past, 10 years. But I do think that they could try to reconnect, and it would be cool for Melo to be in the building when Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets do their thing.
Yeah, it would be very cool, especially after getting his jersey number retired this year and in Ball Arena. That would be pretty special. All right, next up here. What was the moment this year that you knew this team was special?
Yeah, I tell this story a little bit. Back on December 8th, I flew out to Portland, and I didn't know what I was going to get there. Denver was on a 3-game losing streak. It was raining when I got there, and I get into the gym, and I sit down, and hey, Jamal Murray's coming over, and we have a conversation at that shoot-around. And then I wrote a story about his mentality, kind of where he was and kind of what he's thinking trying to come back from this ACL tear. And that night, after I had written that and then kind of helped diagram it for the rest of the fan base, he goes out and hits a game winner. He goes out and has such a great performance in that fourth quarter, putting the team on his back in a couple ways. And he hadn't been able to do that before. This was the first time when he came back from the ACL tear that he was really able to look like himself in those clutch moments. And we've seen him do that over and over again now and in these playoffs and in the finals. Like, we've seen him do some crazy things. And for him to be able to do that was such a big value add to what the Nuggets needed to be. Like, they had all the pieces. Everybody knew that, like, you add KCP, you add Bruce Brown, you add Christian Brown, you add all these guys, but you're never going to get to where you need to go unless your stars perform. You had confidence that Jokic would do that. People didn't really have confidence that Murray would do that until that moment. And that was a great reminder to not just the fan base, but to the team as well, that Murray had that in him and that you just had to be patient. And that was when I knew it. That's when I felt it. I could sense something there. And it was really cool to see them basically take that moment and then propel them on to the best 3 months that they've ever played.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And you love reminiscing, especially when this team is where they're at right now. We've got 3 more questions before we wrap this one up and head into game 5. This one from Brian. How low will Murray's averages have to be heading into the All-Star break for him to not make the team next season?
Yeah, that's a good question, just because I know that Murray, he wants that. He wants that ultimately. But coming back from the ACL tear this last year, I didn't really expect him to get to that point. And he wasn't really that close when it was all said and done. had about 20 points and 6 assists per game. But I think what people are seeing in these playoffs is that you get some credit. You get some credit for being a playoff player and showing up in these moments. I think he's averaging something absurd like 27 points and 7 assists or something like that. Just some crazy numbers, and doing it in the brightest moments on the biggest stage is really, really impressive. So I think that he's going to have to improve upon his numbers from last year in order to actually do that. Like, it can't be 20-6 unless he's shooting insane percentages. It's probably got to be something like, I don't know, 22-7 or 23-6, something like that, where you're scoring a bunch, you're clearly a part of what's going on and a big piece of what's going on, and like your stardom is really coming to the forefront. Although it's tough because there's a lot of stars in the NBA that are putting up even better numbers than 22-7 or 23-6, just because they get to have their own teams. But if Denver is in first place, or if they are like at the top of the conference like they were this last year, then it gets Denver some credit as well. So they've got to keep pushing. They've got to keep doing that in the regular season. You're going to have to, like, if it's Murray, he's going to have to compete with Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Damian Lillard. He's got like Shea, like all of those guys. Those are four big names that are probably taking the guard spots already. Yeah. So he's going to have to outperform at least one of those guys in the regular season in order to getting those votes from the coaching staff. So we will see whether he can actually do it, but it's tough. It's really, really tough to try to make it through.
Yeah, competition is high, especially when you're looking at the whole league. So it's not just one spot there that's open for what could be an NBA champion, but we will find out here. All right, two more to wrap up this one, second to last one from Phoenix. How does it feel that you will possibly be able to witness franchise history tomorrow?
It hasn't fully hit me yet, just because I'm still in the mode of like, let's do the work. Let's try to get through not get through it, but make sure to cover it correctly and make sure to do everything that I can to make it as strong as I possibly can, and have the fan base be able to support that. But it's going to feel good. It's going to feel really, really good. I think back to where we were when the Brian Shaw era was going on in Denver, and it was just a nightmare to actually try to be a Nuggets fan at that point. And I know Nuggets fans, young and old, have gone through the trials and tribulations that it's taken to get to this moment. And everything kind of has coalesced into this, with Jokic and Murray and Porter and Michael Malone and everybody kind of coming together on this and becoming the best versions of themselves. It's going to feel really, really good. And this is just a great aspect of Denver's history right now. And kind of like, we've got over 50 years of history that we can really boil down into this moment. And I'm very excited. Nervous a little bit to see what that's going to be like. But I mean, how could you not be excited?
No, soak it up. All right, Ryan, we have one more here before we go into what could be franchise history before I see you next. So this last question from Matthew: is your sense the Nuggets have the right mindset heading into Game 5? I feel Game 2 was a wake-up call. Do you think they're going to get it done tomorrow?
I think they will. I think they will. I think that like Matthew says here, Game 2 did feel like a wake-up call. That's like every other game they've allowed 93, 94, and 95 points, which is insane. That's insane levels of defense from the Nuggets. And I do think that they have the right mindset for sure, just heading into this moment. And I think that they don't want to go back to Miami. They would like to take care of this here. I would like for them to take care of this here, because it's going to make it a whole lot better if you get to celebrate in front of your own home fans. Like, they're going to shower you with love and praise and everything. And these last two rounds in LA and in Phoenix, they did it on the road. They advanced on the road. And I think Nuggets fans would love to be able to celebrate with their own players, just because this is nothing that's ever happened before. Yeah. So would be really, really cool to see. I remember the moments after the first round when they clinched and when they advanced. It was great in the building. Now imagine that 10 times better, 12 times better when you win the NBA Finals. If you win the NBA Finals, they've got to do it. They've got to bring it. There's no doubt in my mind that they can, but Miami's going to fight. Like, they're not just going to roll over and die. So Denver's got to get it done. Like, just have to do it any single way. And hopefully you can do it on your own terms. But even if you have to do it ugly, don't matter.
Yep. Nope. All right. Well, it could be game 5. It could be the NBA champions, the Denver Nuggets, that you will get to witness. So it's going to be very exciting for you, Ryan. Thank you so much to everybody who sent in questions. We will be back here next week with what will hopefully be a celebratory AMA discussing the whole season and, of course, some other things going on here and how these NBA finals will end up. So, Ryan, thank you so much. Soak it up. Enjoy. And I will see you next week.
Thank you, Kim. Good to see you.